Hello and welcome to this CDP Studio tutorial. In this tutorial we will go over the state machine. We will be covering states, state transitions and messages. A state machine in CDP usually has states, inputs and outputs. It will also run on the component's interval. This interval is determined by the component's fs property. Every tick the component will execute the code within the current state's process function. We will make our component and have it run 10 times per second. We want our component to output different signals depending on its state. Our state machine is going to have 3 states. One for generating a square signal, one for a staircase signal, and one for both at the same time. We will also need a CDP signal for our output. To implement the square signal, we will first define an integer variable. We will set this to 1 in the constructor of the component. The process square function will set the output equal to our variable, and on the next line we will flip the variable's sign. We will use a similar approach for our staircase signal. First we define an integer variable, but this one we will set to 0 in the constructor because we will have it iterate from 0 to 10. In the process stair function we set the output to our variable, and then we increase the variable by 1. When the value goes above 10 we reset it to 0. For our process both, we will simply combine the properties of our previous signals by multiplying them. We now need to add some state transitions. Doing this will generate transition handling functions. In these you can implement the code for handling the transitions. Because our implementation does not require any specific actions when transitioning between states, we will leave them as they are. Be aware that you will not be able to switch between states that do not have a transition specified, unless you override the state machine. We are now going to add some messages. This will allow the component to receive and act upon messages it receives. We will use the generated message handlers to request states. We will do this by setting requested state in the message handlers. This will allow us to change the state from a connected CDP Studio or another component. After we've finished up the message handlers, we need to build our library. When the library has been built, we can add our component to the demo system and test it. With the demo system running, we connect to it and set up a graph in analyze mode. This is so that we can see the signal change between states. After that, we enter configure mode and find our component. We locate the messages we created. We will then change between states using the messages. Notice how the signal changes when we transition between states. Also notice that we can only switch between states where we specified transitions. This was all for this tutorial. I will see you in the next video.